Hello, I'm Toycat, and Minecraft just changed forever, and what we were expecting from the update has not matched reality, as you can clearly see, both in terms of the unexpected surprise features, of which there are two, but also in terms of what we can use the existing ones for. Today I'll show you both, and then use them to work on something big, new, and fun for my Let's Play world that I was inspired from the time travelling away. But first things first, let's talk not about the happy ghast that I've been using for my end, and which I realised can be really useful for this project you see around me, but instead I want to start with the two features in this update you wouldn't have known about if you were following the betas, but you would have known about if you checked the changelog, because there were two big surprises. The first of these was a brand new achievement. I actually got this and then realised afterwards, like, oh yeah, there's a new achievement in this update. All you need to do is get yourself a happy ghast and then you can enjoy an achievement, but also if you choose to make a 3x3 painting, there's a small chance that it will look like this now. This is a brand new painting by Sarah Boving. She is one of the great Minecraft artists, honestly. If you've enjoyed any of the new paintings, it's probably by her. And so what's interesting is they added this painting not in any of the betas, but at the very last minute before release. Why did they do that? And why did they do it only for Bedrock? Because obviously Java has its own equivalent of achievements, the advancements, but there is an equivalent of Bedrock paintings in the Java paintings. I'm not that bothered about it, I guess we could say, but it is an interesting thing to say. And yeah, with that said, this is my very happy dog, and this is my very happy ghast, and I know what you're thinking immediately. Yes, the happy ghast having happy in its name implies that every other mob is in fact deeply sad, but yeah, this happy ghast is a mob which I have tamed here in my end as one of my first free happy ghasts. Right after getting the achievement, I decided to bring him here, and part of the reason I did this was to kind of test him out in a different dimension. Obviously, this is a place that is fascinating on many levels, but having a happy ghast here allows me to see my end from a different angle that I never would have before, because ultimately, once you defeated the dragon, I would not recommend doing this before, but once you've defeated the dragon, having a happy ghast in your end is actually really useful for projects where you need to go up and down a lot. And so take these towers for example. They used to be coated in glass, but then when I think it's when I respawned the ender dragon after the switch onto Bedrock, for some reason a lot of the glass got destroyed by the dragon. I haven't gotten around to replacing it, and so having a happy ghast allows me not just to see my end from a different angle, because I could have flown up here before, but that wastes a literal durability for every second I waste. I can spend literal minutes here just gazing and appreciating, or unappreciating if you don't find my builds to be beautiful, but I can sit up here and I can appreciate my end, which is great. Another thing though, like what I think people really didn't appreciate about the happy ghast, myself included, is it's not just great for moving around your world. In fact, actually, I would say it's the opposite. For some reason, even though the happy ghast has a harness, a saddle if you will, even though this exists, travel speed is really, really bad. I would say it's just about manageable in the up-down direction, but when it comes to side-side, the happy ghast so desperately needs an upgrade. I think that in the same way Minecraft features get better over time, we need the equivalent of a carrot with stick for the happy ghast, because we have the carrot on a stick. By the way, underappreciated enchantable item. We have the warp fungus on a stick. By the way, second unappreciated enchantable item. But we don't have a version of this for the happy ghast, which I think would be great. We could put, say, a snowball on a stick, and it would be wonderful. But yeah, anyway, the interesting thing about the happy ghast is it's going to be really useful for working on the underneath of builds that previously you couldn't have done without seriously endangering yourself. To get myself here, just to be clear, I'd have to place a bunch of blocks down just above the void, place the scaffolding on top, hope the endermen don't steal it, and that would have just been a whole pain. But now if I want to actually coat the underside of my end in glass, I can 100% just do that, and you can see that the happy ghast is surprisingly maneuverable. You don't have to get off the happy ghast and use it as a platform like you would with scaffolding. It literally will move around with you, and I didn't appreciate just how good it would be for these sorts of projects where you're trying to place blocks in really weird spaces. It feels like it's not as good as flying around personally, it's not as good as playing around in creative mode obviously, but it's not that far off, and for a survival item to feel like creative, I mean, the closest we've ever had to this before is maybe, you could say, in the having pick block, or maybe the elytra, but we have a borderline creative level item that you can bring with you to every dimension. Although, that is the next thing that I didn't quite realise. The happy ghast is 4x4 blocks, something I think I can show you if I get it right next to the edge of this here. So the happy ghast is a 4x4 block mob, and in theory, by the way, on Bedrock it was meant to be 3.99 by 3.999, but you can see it's 4 blocks by 4 blocks, Basically, exactly, right? I mean, I think that is easy enough for me to say. However, if I clear a space for it that is 4 by 4 blocks wide, like I will do right now, even if I clear this space, so just to confirm, this is 16 blocks, I can't get the Happy Ghast in that space. It is possible that this is something that I just have, you know, skill issue, if you will, but I've been really struggling to get the Happy Ghast into these spaces. I have a theory that it's like parallel parking. It's like, well, you have to get the Happy Ghast perfectly lined up, but I haven't been able to do that, and again, given that there is literally no tolerance on each side, if you want to actually get the Happy Ghast somewhere, you need a 5 by 5 spot, which means, one, regular nether portals aren't going to fit her, but also, there is no way to get the Happy Ghast not only into the end portal, because it's 3 by 3, okay, look at that. So 5 by 5, I can now get the Happy Ghast in here, and oh, unlike horses, so this is really weird here, unlike horses, you can actually sit in a block just fine, and it won't let you sit in there permanently, but it's very cool. Anyway, so this means you can't get a Happy Ghast into your ends. And the other crucial thing that I guess I should have realized better before is the fact that it also means you can't get a Happy Ghast out of your end. Because if I try to bring your lovely lady here, so just look at this speed. I am literally just trying to travel from the outer of my end island to the end thing here, and it is going at this speed. It's beautiful though, right? Vibrant Visuals sure has some interesting changes. Before I talk about the other weird features in this update, and I do want to talk about those a lot, I do want to make a brief mention of something I only realized when I went to record, because I think the end looks beautiful with Vibrant Visuals, even if I can't bring the Happy Ghast in and out of it. I think my end in particular is covered in glass, which makes it look very, you know, let's say stunning and beautiful. I think that's the correct way to describe things that look like this. But what's really weird about the end is that I didn't quite realize that if you have, say, your obsidian platform, there's this weird fog in the end that I can't quite describe here. I only noticed when I went to start recording this video. I'll admit I've waited this long to talk about it because I was curious if anyone would naturally notice it as much as I did, or maybe, you know, there's just light on my monitor. But if you look at this, and I'm sure you can see it in your recording, there's this weird kind of fogginess that you can see occurs on these end islands, or I guess the opposite of fogginess. There's light that is naturally spawning, not from these torches, although, is it from these torches? Why are these torches providing white light and these ones providing yellow? That's not me being crazy, right? This is my Minecraft world. You can see it clearly with the glass there. There are all sorts of minor concerns with Vibrant Visuals. Now that we're putting it onto real, again, this is my real copy of my real long-term survival world. It's been going for over 12 years. Coming close to 13, but it's this long-term world, and there's all sorts of weird issues. We're like, yeah, if you have a world for 12 years, apparently there's multiple end biomes. I have to assume that's the explanation here, and so some parts of my end look wildly different to other parts. Just something odd I've noticed. And I'm glad, now that I've shared it with the world, I can feel less crazy for thinking it myself. I think this is one of the most, like, basic human needs, is to understand, not that, you know, like, what the solution to a problem is. I think a lot of the times people share problems not because they're even looking for a solution, even though there likely is one that is easily available. But yeah, the biggest relationship advice I can give you right here, Internet, is that most of the time people tell you about a problem, they don't want a solution. They just want you to be like, wow, that sure does suck. You know, they want you to see that there is a problem. Also, by the way, there is a problem with the fact that there's a new dog painting, but it's specifically the OG Minecraft wolf, and I upgraded my wolves. I've replaced them with the ones from the more distant foreign biomes, and so, yeah, this does not represent my dog experience. It doesn't represent my cat experience either. Although, actually, I don't think I have any cats hanging around here. I think I might have sent them all away after they sat on my base one too many times. Although I have an ocelot in my sheep pen, so I guess that's just as good, right? Anyway, speaking of just as good, right? Now that we're here, I would like to talk about some of the other, like, little niche things about this update that I thought were interesting. So I have a Happy Ghast that I just kind of have floating around here, right? And one of the things I didn't quite realize about this update was that I thought leads were going to be massively changed and, revitalized in a way that's crazy. But I think ultimately, for the most part, that's not actually matching my reality. So, yeah, if I get the Happy Ghast down here, I'll need snowballs. I have no snowballs. So I'll get the Happy Ghast down here by using a harness. This is one of the strangest Minecraft facts, by the way. There is a snowball. There's no way to put it on a stick. But the other thing that will lure in a Happy Ghast just as well as a snowball is a harness. why does the happy ghast want to be harnessed? You know, I feel like maybe this is what makes him happy, is he accepts his life. He understands that it is filled with confusing things, but he accepts it nonetheless. Anyway, one of the things that I think is kind of, I was expecting to appreciate more than I did were the lead changes. Ultimately, I think the only thing I really like about the lead changes is the fact that it can allow you to move the new slow mob, the happy ghast, pretty easily just like this. As you can see, using your own flying power is much better than using the happy ghasts, and that's something I wasn't expecting. But yeah, Vibrant Visuals is here, and there's lots of changes. I made a whole video about the big likes and dislikes, but it's just strange being in your world of Vibrant Visuals sometimes, and looking at it and seeing stuff looking like this. I think in the long run, I'm probably going to end up disabling it, because there are just so many moments where I'm like, ooh, this doesn't quite look like Minecraft, but it's way less than in the betas and previews. I think whenever I would show Vibrant Visuals for my streams or my videos, people would say, this looks terrible, Toycat, what have you done with your settings? But what's interesting is I'm now using the default Vibrant Visual settings for 1.20, 1.90, and people have been saying, yeah, actually, this does look like Minecraft, just better. Where is this shade here coming from? Oh, it's that little gap there. I love that. These are the things you realize about your Minecraft world, by the way. Having an old world will help you realize real quickly where the gaps are in things and how different parts of your world interact with you, which is a great way to help you realize how your builds are taking up 3D space. It's not just that there's a rail up there and there's things down here. That rail is actually impacting the sunlight that I receive down here. It's pretty fun. Anyway, I want to work on the big main build that I wanted to focus on today, because while we talk about the update and how it's different than we expected, I also want to talk about a fun new build I wanted to add to my Let's Play world. So, the inspiration for this did come from my recent trip to the Philippines. I saw a I Heart Cebu sign, which, just to be clear, is not unique there. I've seen these all around the world. Here are all the places I love. Look. I love so many places, even New York, apparently. This is not a place I love. This is just a bookstore that I found that says Love Kills Capitalism. And along those lines, I'd like to quickly remind you that Toycat's Let's Play World is not just something that I play on myself. The reason I call it Toycat's Let's Play World is because it's actually on the marketplace. People can download it, and we put out updates like we're going to very shortly. But yeah, this made me realize that, you know, in the same way I see these I Heart signs, and it's very overdone, you know, like people have been doing this forever. It's never a unique idea anymore. It made me appreciate, like, well, you don't care about it being a unique idea if you just want to take a picture and be like, yeah, I do love this place. Most people don't do that. Most people I saw walking past the I Heart Cebu sign did not take a picture of themselves loving Cebu, which is, you know, very sad. I think they should maybe love where they live a little bit more. So I need to grab some gravel, by the way, and I need to grab some sand, and then I need to grab some red, because I want to make a I Heart Toycat Let's Play World sign, so that if anyone is in the world, and they want to have a fun little photo opportunity, they can do it. Or the truth is, you know, I want to do this for my own, you know, self-actualization of feeling like my world is a tourist spot, and if anyone happens to enjoy it, that'd be a nice bonus. But I'm going to tell you that it's all selflessly for you, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun that we're going to build that right now. So let's make ourselves some red concrete powder, nice and easy. And we've got a bunch of quartz, but I do want to take some of that quartz and turn it into slabs, I'm going to say. So we'll just take, how many slabs do you think you need to write Toycat's Let's Play World? Probably less than 24. Now let's go and let's bring our happy ghast and do precisely that. So this is my first new build, I guess, you know, like actually new product. Also, oh, what happened there? I guess I picked it up from the happy ghast, put it on myself. This is my first new build since the update came out, and it's going to be kind of exciting to play with. But yeah, I think one of the other things that I really just dislike about Vibrant Visuals is looking at a body of water, so you can barely see that there's water here, but every piece of water has this weird texture at the bottom, and I genuinely don't get what this is meant to be. I feel like water doesn't look like that in the real world, and in Minecraft, your water will look like that, no matter how little water there is in the block. So if I have some slabs down here, you can see that, when there's no happy ghast above, you can see that, yeah, the slabs still have this weird texture. I just don't love it. I don't know what it's meant to represent, and maybe this is a sign, you know, I think this is the weird thing about video games sometimes, right? Is in theory, video games should be good about teaching us about the real world, and I think sometimes that teaching has to come through confusion, but sometimes, so I'm just going to jump on my happy ghast here, I'm going to fly it past the hardest part, or even, actually, I've got a really good idea. So, how do you get the happy ghast around your world quickly? Well, I think it would be best solved. I think that Minecraft almost certainly will add some form of speed item to it, if people love their happy ghast as much as I do. But I think that in the meantime, the best way is just fly her up high. You'd even just get on top of her, lead her from on top, and then let's go. Please come this way. Why are you... Another thing, by the way, so leads, I think, have very little impact on this update. They have gotten a lot better. How I play Minecraft, it's like kind of not that relevant, which is fair, right? Like I think everyone, plays Minecraft differently. To me, I'm not that focused on crazy over-the-top contraptions. If you are, I'm sure there's something you can do with leads. But here we go. Okay, so now I can bring the happy ghast with me at a much better speed. You can't use fireworks. Also, look, the lead is attached like way above my head for some reason. You can't use fireworks, it'll instantly detach the happy ghast, but getting her around my world quickly is really easy. And yeah, speaking of things that are easy, ooh, yeah. The place I figured I would make this I Heart Toy Cats Let's Play World sign is actually right over here. I have this weird little semi-art gallery. I've got this lava potion, I've got this subscribe or house fire sign. I've got this subscribe or your house will grow an orange ear, I believe is what that actually looks like. But anyway, you can see that we've got these things, and okay, that happy ghast is going to cause me problems. And now I figured this would be the perfect place to put a sign. And to be clear, I'm starting to, I'm working on ideas to make a part of my world like a heritage site, you know, making it like, you know, less desirable to make builds there. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to therefore build just outside of this when I make my sign. So for I Heart Toy Cats Let's Play World, I'm just going to work on the simplest bit here. We need to have Toy Cat is 6 letters, Let's Play is 8 letters. So where my T would be is where my E would be. So I need to make an E, which should look something like this. I'll grab some quartz slabs and I'll put it here and here and maybe another block down there, but that's fine. And then just above this is where I'm going to place my T. So we'll have a T go here, 1, 2, 3, there and there. And this should be, I know I'm way overcomplicating building a sign that says I love Toy Cats Let's Play World, but okay, is this gonna look okay? Oh, it surprisingly does. Okay, so this is I Heart, you know, or this is Toy Cats Let's Play World. The text will be here and there. And then above that, just like the signs that we've seen of old, actually, you know, if we look back at those signs that I've taken a picture in front of, you can see that it usually abbreviates the name down. Do you think if you saw the words, you know, TCLP, you know, I Heart TCLP, would you immediately get what that meant, you know? Or would you think that someone is having a stroke on their keyboard? I think I have to write the entire thing out, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. So I am now going to have to place blocks over there. I think I need to have a block to actually place on top of, so I'll just have some end stone. Seeing this exists right here, I'll place some end stone right here, and we'll start by placing the bottom text, which is Let's Play. So I'm going to try and have the letters combine and touch each other, if that works. So we'll start with the Let's Play to see if it does. So next to this E, I'm going to have a T, which can look like this. Does that look good? Because I want to have the sign be like a reasonable height. I think it does. And then next to this E, we're going to have an L, which I could probably just design using full letters, but does that look like Let's Play? Yeah, let. And then above this T here, I'm going to have an O. So that O will go here. This is a very confusing way to design something. But one of my favorite things about designing things out of order is you start to get weird things like to let. Right now, you can rent Toy Cats Let's Play World on the marketplace. I mean, is it renting or is it owning? I'll see what the marketplace actually says about that. But if I'm not mistaken, if we type in Let's Play World, will we get it? Let's Play. If we type in Let's Play, we do find Let's Play Hotel, Let's Play... Hey, Toy Cats Let's Play World. So as you can see, when you go to buy it, it says download, but it doesn't imply you have exclusive ownership, which is maybe closer to a renting situation, right? Anyway, yeah, as you can see, the last time it was updated is 121.40, and so now we're going to update it for 121, probably 100, or 90, and so that way you can actually play with vibrant visuals in here, and yeah, I think that therefore the world is to let, but in the meantime, let's put a little apostrophe here. So how do you do an apostrophe in these? I guess we just place a single thing here. Maybe like that. I think that looks like an apostrophe. So let's... And then we have to have another space. And then an S is going to be really tricky to do in 3x3 spacing. You can tell how much I've considered this idea before, by the way. But now we just have an S, which should look like this. And yes, I love to... Wait, this isn't going to look like an S, is it? It's going to be a 2. It's the curse of Minecraft. You always make S's when you're going for 2s, and you always make 2s when you're going for S's. But just like this, I have proven that let2. All we have to do here is remove this block and replace it with this block. And then we'll also... I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the top of this go up to here. So... Okay. So it goes like that, and then it goes like this. And I don't know what I've just made, but it's great. And if you think otherwise, then you're terrible. There we go. Okay. So this is let's. 2 let's. And now we just need to make a Y, so it'll be toilets. And, oh, toilets. Now that's a genius idea. Do you want to make a toilet sign in your world, but think that toilets are perhaps below you? Here is my easy solution that I offer you. Just write 2 lets. Or toilets. Just like this. And I don't know why I placed an endstone block there. I think I could have gotten away without placing one, but it's fine. Now we remove that, and we've ended up with, yes, the sign for the toilets. I actually forgot. I didn't realize that let's had a apostrophe in it. So I either have to commit to the apostrophe and have everything be unbalanced, or I have to remove the apostrophe and, what do you think the better idea is here? It's kind of a struggle, right? But yeah, we're going to build the sign, and then you'll be able to say that you love my design. And we're going to do it using a happy ghast, just so you can see how much easier my life will actually get once I switch over to the superior method of transport. So you saw right there, it was a little bit painful, and you might think like, will the happy ghast really make this better? And I think the answer is yes. So right now, right here, I can now place my blocks. Oh, okay, I need to go slightly down, so I can jump from the happy ghast over to here. Oh no, come back, happy ghast. Okay, so you want to sit on the happy ghast as much as you can. And I also want to put the happy ghast down enough that I can easily work on either of these things. So just there seems pretty good. Let's toy cats. Let's play world. So then we're going to have an A, which needs to go here. The A is a really hard one to do in the 3x3 space. If you use slabs, it should be a bit easier. But you can see how, yeah, if we either stand on the happy ghast or move it around like this, it still makes life pretty easy for working on builds like this. Although I'm actually lying. I think the water has created an impenetrable barrier, which the happy ghast doesn't want to go below. I never really appreciated that the happy ghast wouldn't like water. You'd figure if she likes being chill so much, I'm just assuming it's a she, by the way. Apologies if not. But if she likes being chill so much, then why is this causing her issues? But yeah, anyway, here we can see toy cat. Yeah, really, I want to think about this. You know, if you think being cool is so important, if you literally were raised in water, I think the happy ghast should be able to go into it. But as you can see, she just cannot. Which means I would recommend building a little bit higher above the water if you're doing this in your world. Just a suggestion right there. Anyway, toy cat, let's play. I guess we'll have a space between let's and play. So the P can start over here. I don't know how we would make a P, but I guess we'll do it. And once we've done let's P, you know, we could finish it on let's P. Who's to say what I do and don't enjoy in my worlds? So now we can have that go there. That looks ugly, so we'll instead remove these blocks. And we'll place a slab there, and I think that's all of my slabs. So that's what my P now looks like. I should go and see a doctor, because that is not normal. And you can see we've got toy cats, let's... Weirdly enough, I think I shouldn't have put in a space between the apostrophe and the S here, but I think if I didn't, it wouldn't look like a space. So it's a very, very tricky problem we have. And now I'm going to work on the I heart above it, which is where I'm hoping, it's where I'm praying the happy ghast will come in magically. So happy ghast, please come to me. Please. Over here. Yeah. No. I think this is going to be the new annoying mob when it comes to getting stuff done. So come on, ghast, over here, please. I guess ultimately this is something you're going to have to do. You're going to have to waste fireworks to get to your ghast if you have them. And now that I've got my Toy Cat Let's Play world just about, worked out where it's going to go, now I need to make an eye heart. So the eye needs to be a giant eye. Like, we'll place an end stone, like a couple of blocks. And then we'll make the eye go for, like, the left half of this. So eye can look like this. Easy peasy. How many letters should we have? How many blocks should we have this go wide? I'm going to say at least 7. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that's 8. And then we'll have the middle of it go up 2. And we'll place a bunch of blocks of quartz. Thankfully, we don't need any of the slabs for this. So this is what the eye will now look like. Easy peasy. And now we're going to need to make the heart, which is as easy as jumping onto my happy cast. And then getting her to fly back over here. And using this red concrete powder. Now, what's annoying is I actually need to turn the concrete powder into real concrete or something first. But I can do that by using endstone. So I'm going to place some endstone down right here. And then we're going to have the heart start about here too. Is this the middle of this block? I would say it is. So we'll have a heart start here. Do you think the rain will wet my concrete powder? I think the rain should wet my concrete powder. But yeah, I think as far as this update goes... I think that it's one of those updates that has a tiny amount of content, but a small amount of content that actually really can impact your world. And I think this is something that Minecraft is probably trying to do more of. Appreciating that, like, okay, if development time isn't infinite, and even if Minecraft development time was infinite, people don't like changes for the sake of changes. I think that a large number of changes actually make people upset and disappointed because they're like, oh, I've gotten back into Minecraft after so long, and I don't recognize the game. This is something I see a lot on my channel because I see people who are like, yeah, Toy Cat, I started playing Minecraft on the 360 8 years ago, and I, kind of got out of it at some point since. Now I see your channel again. I find those messages to be a little bit heartwarming. You know what else is heartwarming? The Happy Ghast, because the Happy Ghast allows me to show that I heart... Oh, Toy Cat's Let's Play World. But yeah, I think that it's really kind of warming, but it's also a fun reminder to me that, like, oh yeah, for a lot of people, Minecraft isn't the, forever play it every day game. It's the get into a huge phase, and then maybe at some point life gets in the way, and it's cool that it's a game that people come back to in that way. But this is now my sign. I think that heart is probably... It could do with being a bit bigger, right? Because the eye is that size. But otherwise, I think we did pretty well with it, and now we just have to pour some water right on top of it. So that should be easy to do. I'll bring my ghast down to water level. I don't think I'll be able to reach the water from the ghast. Oh, I can. Okay, perfect. And then I'm just going to cover the concrete in water. I mean, it's literally covered in water already, but... See, this is a fun example of, like, I think someone playing Minecraft would logically assume that if concrete turns into concrete powder via rain, or via water, that rain should do it. But the reason that it doesn't is gameplay related. They basically said, we don't want rain to mess up your Minecraft world, and so it also won't destroy any... if you have a netherrack that's lit on fire, or anything that's lit on fire, fire won't go out because there is water touching it, because that's not fun for gameplay. And as Minecraft makes more and more decisions, which are based around gameplay and not realism, a valid and correct thing to do if you actually ask me, but as they make more of these decisions, you get a game which gets confusing if you don't understand those decisions. Again, right now I think it's logical to most people, if you really think about it, why it is that rain doesn't wet concrete. But that's after you talk to someone, or even if you just rationalize it out loud. If you have that conversation with yourself, you'll understand much better. Okay, I need to fly into this gap so I can pick up the end stone. Then I'm going to go back down here. Okay, here we go. And then we're going to remove this end stone. There we go. And now I just have to place the last couple of letters, which I shall do so. So these have both turned into concrete, which I guess is useful if I need it to be there. And now I just need to place the last 2 letters, and we'll have a complete sign ready to be stood next to it. So the A is the trickiest one, but I do have a slab, thankfully. Hopefully it's the last one I need. This slab goes there. Let's play. And then there's a block here, a block there, and there, and there. It says T right now. We remove that. And it should be a Y. As in, why did I just build this? And the answer is that I think that Toy Cat's Let's Play... Oh, God. This does... Oh, God. Also, I think I missed an L. Yeah, I think it's Toycat's Let's Pay, which is a perfect explanation. In my opinion, this is a perfect explanation of how love has killed capitalism, or maybe capitalism has killed love. You know, yeah, the capitalism is killing the love that I'm putting into this. Very, very tragic, very, very sad. And if you hate that capitalism is killing things, then be sure to give me $4 for my Let's Play world on the marketplace. But more seriously, I think there's a really, I think this is still, even without the L, it's still kind of unbalanced. So what can I do to actually fix this? I think I've got to put the apostrophe next to the T or next to the S. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And then I'm going to put the P next to that, and then I'll have space for an L. So I'll move the apostrophe over here. Or I'll use just the slab for an apostrophe. But then I'll move the slab a block down. Yeah, then that way it'll actually fit, I think. If we put the apostrophe here, it's like, let's... yeah, that. And then we just move every block in this, one block over here. I've used up all of my quartz, apparently. Okay, no, there we go. So now we just move everything one block over, including all of these. Okay, nice and easy. So how do you make an S again? I've entirely forgotten. Okay, so now we just move all of these blocks over. Let's... Okay, and then we make an S. The S looks something like this, but without one of those in there. Yep, looks great to me. And then we need to put an L in here, so that L can go like here. And then a block goes there. And there we go. That's let's... No, wait, the L was in the wrong place. I swear I can do spelling. It's now let's L pay. You know, maybe if we just fill this in with quartz, it will look like this was exactly what I was going for, and people can fill in the blanks themselves. You know, some people would say the art is more impressive when it asks questions, and I think this art has a lot of questions. Also, it's Toycat's Let's Play. Arguably, it's Toycat's Let's Play world. So I need to write the word world somewhere. Okay, so I'm working on this text right here, and it's quite an easy idea, I think. Could be easy to say. It's something I came up with while traveling and just had to build in my world. I think this is like a common source of Minecraft inspiration. Seeing something in the real world and thinking, oh, that might be fun to build in Minecraft. But even though this is something that's fairly simple in the grand scheme of things, it's still something that has to be like played around with and rebuilt over and over again. And I think that the difference between how you think something is going to go and the reality of how that thing goes is one of the most interesting, like human psychological phenomenons. Like, there are times where you are really, really expecting to have a bad day, and it just goes perfectly. I think, to me, this is how like a lot of socializing goes. I think I dread it nonstop. As I record this video, tomorrow I'm meeting up with some people that I'm excited to meet up with. It's always fun to catch up, but also I feel, because of that, I feel in my head like some level of pressure, if that makes any sense. And, that some level of pressure will therefore make me be like, oh god, okay, let's not mess this up. I've messed these things up before, let's not mess it up this time, right? Or, whatever the case may be. And as you stress that in your head a bunch, then that stress becomes indicative of the experience, or it becomes the thing you remember about the experience, at least, rather than, like, actually how good it is to enjoy by itself. I think being, relaxed about a lot of things and just, like, being happy to see how they go rather than being stressed about how they will is probably the much healthier, better way to live your life. Also, I thought that I could make this text red, but I still need slabs, and there's no red concrete slabs. So I'm going to have to leave the... little half slab there. I'm just going to build around it, but that should be kind of cool by itself. I think a lot of... So after A, it's L, right? So this needs to be an L and not whatever this is. I know exactly what it is, of course, because it looks beautiful. But let's build an L here anyway. So now there's an L, which goes like this. It should follow the 3x3 grid, but we can't really do that right now. And then we need a P, which can go right here. So the P will go like this, and then like this. And then we need some slabs somewhere, I'm sure. We could leave it like that and make it relay. And now we just need an S. And we're good to go, I think we can say. Okay, so now we remove this layer here and this layer here. And we could convert it into slabs if we have some, but we do have enough slabs left over that we can simply, place blocks here. We need to place one there, and then a slab there. That's a P. And then we can place this as an S if we just make a layer here and a layer there. And if I can just remember what an S looks like, then I should be good. So this should be a block right here, if I'm not mistaken. And that's not how you do that, apparently. This should be a block right here. And then this should be a block right here. And that allows us to make the Toy Cat Let's Play World sign. Oh, it looks so ugly. With that said, though, yeah, this is a fun little, I guess if we want to call it this, a tourist attraction. Because as I'm seeing more of the world, I start to see some patterns repeat, and a part of me wants to be mad and be like, oh, things that you think are so unique have actually been, you know, like copied a billion times over. You know, part of you wants to be upset about that and be like, no, I only want to see unique ideas. But one of the things that I think is most telling is that some of the best ideas out there are things that you've already seen, but mixed up in just a slightly different way. Because the truth is even if you just see a pure recreation of something you've seen, you ever seen this on the internet with like reposts of really old things? Some old posts are really fun to see again, and for some people, it's the first time they will see it. And so for anyone who looks at this and thinks, oh, this is the first time I've ever seen a sign that you can like take a screenshot next to, and you can say, look, I heart Toy Cat's Let's Play. This was my idea and I came up with it entirely alone. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Anyway, with that said, I hope you all enjoyed this video. There's got to be a better way to do this apostrophe. Maybe the apostrophe should be red too, actually. You know, there's an idea. Okay, let's... Did I solve it? Yeah, I think I solved it perfectly. I should find a red block that slabs to actually use in those gaps there. But this is Toy Cat's Let's Play World. I hope you've all enjoyed episode 623. I didn't have to check that live. I hope you've all enjoyed episode 623 of the Let's Play World. I hope that you learned about the new secret features as well as the kind of difference in the reality and our expectations that hopefully help you realize that the most exciting things in the world can be disappointing when they come out, and the most disappointing things in the world can actually have a lot more depth than you're expecting when they come out, and hopefully this is an example of the latter and not the former. But with that said, thank you very much for watching. I'm going to now tie that Happy Ghast up, because I guess this is my stable, so if I'm going to leave the Happy Ghast anywhere, this is actually the most logical place, right? So let's now leave the Happy Ghast, and let's lead her over to this. So actually, here's something fun you want to do right now. This is like, do this before the next update. You won't be able to tie ghasts to walls, or you won't be able to tie anything to walls after this update. Oh, you can't do it right now? Oh. Have you... Is that new? One sec. Let's grab a lead, and let's try and tie a horse to the wall. I swear this was in the beta, but here you can see not working right here nonetheless. So I'll place the wall there. Oh! What do you know? Very sad. Anyway, with that said, I hope you all enjoyed today's video. If you did, then don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe, and consider being a happier person. Or being a more lovable person. In either case, I'll see you tomorrow for the Q&A. Goodbye, by the way.